Hey everybody, my name is Anthony and welcome to Food Network Lite. Now this is the show where we're going to take all the wonderful recipes from all your favorite Food Network personalities, but we're going to reinvent them by using healthier ingredients and cooking methods. That way we're going to get the same great delicious result, but without all the stuff that's not too figure friendly for you. So today we're taking on Garten's chocolate cupcakes with a peanut butter icing, and they are delicious. I remember when I was watching them at home with my partner Steve, and he just saw them and goes, yum. And so that really is code for, hey honey, you should make these. So I did. I'm not a huge fan of peanut butter desserts, but I figure, if he likes it, he'll make them happy. Let me tell you that whenever I make them, I think I have more than he does, because, I don't know, I love them. So even if you're not a peanut butter dessert lover, I think you might convert after having these. So we're going to start off with 3/4 of a cup of a light butter spread. It has about a quarter of the fat of regular butter. It's just basically made of oils that are a lot more heart healthy than butter instead of all the animal fat that butter is made out of. Next we're going to put in our sugar, and we have 1/2 cup sugar substitute and 1/2 cup brown sugar substitute. It tastes and bakes the same. Wherever you can cut it out and not notice it, go for it. Now we're just going to beat this on high for about 5 minutes until it gets all nice and fluffy and creamy, and don't be afraid to scrape it down during the middle if you need to. Alright, so while this is mixing, let's go get our wet and dry ingredients ready. So let's start with the wet. What I have here is a cup of buttermilk, low-fat buttermilk, but I gotta admit that's kind of a cop-out from the store because it's actually easier to find a low-fat than it is a regular, but go with me on this one. Okay, then we're gonna put in 1/2 cup of fat-free sour cream. So you can tell these are gonna be really, really moist, and so far, a fraction of the fat. Now, lastly, we're gonna whisk in coffee, just 2 tablespoons of brewed coffee, and basically it's just going to kind of bump up the chocolate flavor. You're not going to taste any coffee at all. So I'm just going to whisk this all together, and that's done. Now for the dry. What I have here is 1.5 cups of white whole wheat flour, which is just whole wheat flour that's been milled in a way to taste like it is all-purpose flour. So that way you're getting 100% whole grain cupcake, but it doesn't taste like it, which is great. When I was in college, I had a membership at the Warehouse Club, and I always got their cupcakes, those big, huge cupcakes and muffins, and the chocolate was my favorite. But I didn't realize why I was gaining so much weight. Now I know why. Okay, now we have 1 cup of cocoa powder, which we're going to sift in as well. And lastly, we just have some baking soda that we're going to sift in, and just some kosher salt. Now the salt is just a little bit, but it's going to make everything taste so much better. You're going to be glad you put it in. You just can't have dessert without salt in it. So let's go check on our butter. Okay, so the butter is good. So let's stop that. Then we got to add our eggs in. I have egg substitute, which kind of takes out all the fat and calories and cholesterol of a regular egg. We're just going to do 1 egg at a time, which means 1/4 cup at a time. Just going to mix that in. Do this on low so it doesn't fly all in your face. Unless you like wearing eggs. If that's your thing, then go for it. Lastly, we just have 2 teaspoons of vanilla. We'll mix that in and then we're ready to go to add our wet and our dry. Alright, we're all set. Let's get this ready and scrape down. Okay, so we're going to go in thirds. We're going to do 1/3 wet, then 1/3 dry. 1/3 wet, 1/3 dry, to give everything a chance to kind of incorporate it together. So there's some wet, get that going. Alright, and now 1/3 of our dry. This is looking good already. Alright, let's just finish off these wet and dry ingredients. Okay, these look really good, so I'm going to stop mixing, just kind of clear out some space here so we can fill up our cupcake tin. Alright, so I've got a cupcake tin over here. I have sprayed. I'm going to use liners. I don't really like liners. I don't like a middleman when it comes to my cupcakes, but if you're a liner person, by all means go for it. They can be really cute. Now we're just going to go and get our batter out. Make sure you scrape down the paddle. That is some good stuff. Alright, so I have an ice cream scoop, which is a cupcake maker's best friend. It makes an even-sized cupcake. So you're going to want to fill this up. I'd say, 1 scoopful will do it. You know, I think I didn't like peanut butter desserts because when I was in New York and I was working as an actor, I didn't have a ton of money, and so peanut butter and jelly was a cheap lunch, you know. So I think I had it so much that the idea of having peanut butter kind of was a turnoff for me. But now I really like this dessert, so I think I have grown up and grown back into a peanut butter phase. So making a lot of these at home if you couldn't tell. So I'm just going to toss this in the oven, 350 degrees for about 20-25 minutes. Depending on your oven, you may want to check it a little bit early because you don't want these to dry out on you. Alright, so all we got to do now is just wait for some cupcakes. So just chill out, watch some Food Network, play with the kids, and we'll see you when it's time to frost these bad boys. Alright, our cupcakes are done. Ah, these look great. Look at these. These, they look decadent, they look rich, they look sinful. It's perfect. But they also have to cool. So I'm going to set these aside, then we're going to get to work on the frosting. So now we're ready to start the icing. And let me tell you, it couldn't be easier. We're going to start off with peanut butter icing. But I use a reduced fat peanut butter here. You're going to save yourself a lot of the fat and calories by making that one simple step. And it still tastes great. Next we have our powdered sugar, just a cup of powdered sugar. We also have a 1/4 cup of our light butter spread. You have your vanilla, and you also have your salt. Can't forget about your salt. And you're done. Turn it on. After that, we're just going to add a little bit of cream just to kind of get the consistency that we want. But you just kind of sit here and let the mixer do the work. So now we're going to add our cream. Well, it's not really cream. It's fat-free half and half. Ina calls for heavy cream, but this kind of gives you the same kind of consistency, but without all the fat and the calories. So we're just going to add this slowly as we need it. Voila! You have peanut butter icing. Now, how hard was that? Time to frost the cupcakes. Now, just when you thought this couldn't get any healthier, there's 2 more things we're going to do to make this even more figure-friendly for you. First, we're only going to use half the frosting. You don't need all this frosting for these cupcakes unless you want to gob it on. And you know, we're going to save the fat and calories by only using half. Plus, it'll make it easier next time you make this batch because you're going to love it so much that you're going to want to make this again, and I have saved you the step from having to make frosting. Now the second way we're going to save some fat is the optional peanut garnish. You don't need it. Never garnish with fat if you don't have to. This is plenty good just on its own. So I'm just going to go and finish frosting all these cupcakes. Alright, we're finishing off the last cupcake here, but before I dive in, let me give you the skinny on what we did today. We used a light butter spread instead of butter, and we cut some of the butter out, saving about 75 to 80% of the saturated fat. As far as the flour goes, we used the white whole wheat instead of the regular all-purpose flour, which makes this a 100% whole grain cupcake. We used less sugar than what the recipe called for. We also used the low-fat buttermilk, fat-free sour cream, egg substitute, which takes out all the fat, calories, and cholesterol out of the egg. All in all, you saved over 1,000 calories in this dish, over 200 grams of fat, and over 100 grams of saturated fat. That, to me, makes for an awesome, awesome, healthy, delicious, healthy cupcake for you. So, let me give a dive in here. Wow. Okay. Moist, chocolatey, peanut butter, evidenced by the fact that I can barely talk right now. This is so good. You've got to give this a try at home. Even if you don't like peanut butter, you're going to love this cupcake. So, until I see you next time, this is Anthony telling that you too can enjoy all the Food Network has to offer and still maintain a healthy diet. Bye-bye.